we also want to bring in our panel to follow what happens next, also with the Middle East and President Trump heading there this week. Bill Connor, retired U.S. Army colonel, founding partner of National Defense Consultants, LLC, with us. And Behnam Ben Taleblu, Iran Program Senior Director for the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. Gentlemen, it's great to see you. Behnam, I want to get your reaction first. This is just a release of the last living American hostage. They are not doing anything in return. Tell us how significant that is, that Hamas is doing this. President Trump seems to think this is a real signal that they want to end the fighting. But obviously, we await, we watch very closely.
Well, it's a pleasure to be with you. Obviously, it's a signal that some of Iran's proxies, like the Patriot, are trying to drive a wedge between the U.S. and Israel with the release of this one hostage while still holding many other hostages. But make no mistake, President Trump showed in term one, for example, that he was able to extract hostages held in other places, such as Turkey, such as even in the Islamic Republic of Iran, with far fewer assets having to be paid back to those dangerous regimes, unlike some of his other predecessors. So certainly here you see some of the deftness of President Trump on display, but at the same time, I think you see a willingness by some of American adversaries to try to widen the gap, or create a gap, if you will, between America and Israel with some of these selective releases and some of these selective ceasefires, like with respect to the Houthis in Yemen.
Yeah, playing all the sides against one another. Great point. President Trump has a way to make deals. He also has a way to put together teams that are making deals. Steve Witkoff among them, meeting with Putin. Now he is with the family of Edan Alexander. Bill, talk to us a little bit about, you know, the emergence here of sort of President Trump coming to the Middle East, a new administration. They're obviously willing to work with him, way more open to potentially doing not just economic deals. We don't know what's happening maybe with Abraham Accords, but President Trump and Steve Witkoff coming together in all of these hotspots around the globe and now having real tangible results.
Sure, I think one thing it says is the first time in modern history we've had a president that came out, was out of office, and then came back in. And let's face it, Trump was extremely successful. The Abraham Accords before, his relations with Saudi Arabia and some of the Gulf states, his relationship with Israel. And so what you're seeing is a new thing for allies, even adversaries, of knowing what Trump had done before, the leverage he has, the knowledge he has, and then what he can do now. I would say one thing with the hostage release is it'd be interesting to see, now that the last American hostage is out, how things might change in some of the rhetoric that seemed to show a gulf between Netanyahu and Trump. I kind of wondered if some of that may have been to get this last guy out. And so it remains to be seen right now to see if it continues. In fact, I think even Trump mentioned a potential Palestinian state. I've never really heard that before. Again, now that this hostage is out, whether the Gulf will kind of recede and we'll see them come back. But it's just amazing what Trump has done. He's not getting credit by the mainstream media, but he is bringing together a lot of different parties, and again, allies and adversaries, take him seriously in a way they didn't with Biden.
You know, Behnam, when we look at the meeting as well this week in Turkey, NATO member Erdogan, it will be Putin and Zelensky, and you know, Iran's looking at that as well. What do you think this may be in play for them if there is some real traction there? Knowing that Turkey's the one hosting it, obviously, Turkey's been warning Tehran with Syria. It's complex, but it's all coming sort of to a head this week.
That's right. It is all coming to a head this week, especially with President Trump's trip to some of the Arab states of the Persian Gulf. Most of them, not all of them, are more traditional American partners, like Saudi Arabia and UAE. Then, of course, you have the very special case of Qatar, which, kind of like the government of Erdogan in Turkey, plays this role of frenemy, sometimes leveraging, in the case of the Qataris, the airbase that the U.S. has there. In the case of Turkey, its NATO membership, to be able to push for some more revisionist policies in the region. Make no mistake, however, I think President Trump rightly understands that everything in this region right now is kaleidoscopic, and we are living through the alignment of the ways and the means to potentially achieve some of the more political end states that the administration has articulated. So we're kind of seeing a movie in progress.
We sure are, and we hope at the end of it, it will be sort of a a Middle East with more stability, unlike what we've seen since, of course, October 2023, that fateful day when Edan Alexander was captured, as well as the atrocities occurring there in Gaza.